that we all have issues.
Right.
So, and to overcome the issue, we have to witness ourselves. To overcome the fear, we have to witness ourselves. Okay,
Hi, I'm Richard,
I'm Lawrence.
and we're back for our second part in the series on enlightenment. Last time we were speaking about enlightenment, how to achieve it, can it be achieved. So today we wanted to break it down into some more individual parts. We did get some very good feedback from people, and they wanted to know what are the steps to enlightenment. And we said that we would do that, and that's what we're going to do today and over the next series of videos. So today we want to break it down into what is truth, what is false, what is witness, and how to dismantle. So those are different concepts and steps along this process to enlightenment, and I'll ask Lawrence to discuss them one by one and how they build upon each other. So, in a nutshell, Lawrence, what is truth?
Truth, truth is, the unchanging. For something to be true, it has to be unchanging. Otherwise, we cannot uh, call it truth.
Right,
The enlightenment is about figuring out the unchanging truth.
right.
So that's the journey.
It
That's
sounds simple, but I don't think it is.
it's yeah. When you hear it, it sounds okay. It sounds kind of simple. It is simple. Only thing what makes us not simple is the belief we hold into us.
The credentials and the beliefs are
Yes,
what we.
because of all of our conditionings makes us harder to see it because the conditioning has become our reality, and that's our anchoring place, and and we have been relying on that for a long time. And get to the truth is about again dissolving the credential, dissolving our beliefs, and that makes it the whole journey harder. And even we try it for a while, somehow the process triggers in a way that a lot of fear starts to resurface in us, and because of the fear we bounce back to the what is comfortable for us,
Right.
which is our conditionings in us.
Yeah, and we don't want to give up the things that we're comfortable with,
Yes,
but it's
always.
but it's the things that we're comfortable with us or the fears that keep us in that pattern.
Yes, because of the fear again, because of the fear, we hold on to the comfort, and when we are comfortable, we don't want to let go of our comfort,
Right,
and that itself shows because of our fear,
right,
and enlightenment is about looking into the fear and dissolving the fear, and that's the journey, and only way to complete the journey is by looking into ourselves, which means we have to witness ourselves, and that would be the start of the journey,
right.
witnessing ourselves.
Great. When we witness, we can start to see the fear that resides within us. Is that right?
Yes, enlightenment journey is about dissolving the fear within us. And to dissolve the fear, one must. It's a necessary step to witness ourselves. Otherwise, there is no way where the fear is coming from and why the fear trigger us to move in a certain ways. One won't be able to overcome the fear.
So,
So
what would be some examples of fear that people might have in their life that they might experience every day?
there's fear of a lot of stuff, fear of not having enough, fear of losing someone loved one, fear of
Fear of your boss.
yeah, fear of the boss, fear of dying. There's a
Yeah,
lot of fear in everyone's
that's
life.
stressful for people.
And yes, fear brings stress, and because of the fear, it makes us hold on to the things in a way that we tend to manipulate things, control things, and that itself is going against the nature's way of things.
Right.
and not to go against the nature of way things and live in line with the nature. The only way to do is stepping back from, the stepping back from everything and just witnessing first on where we are, and am I moving from the place of fear, you know and if you start to ask this kind of question, we know we cannot run away from, we cannot hide from ourselves. When we ask ourselves, am I living with a fear or not?
Hmm.
We can pretend outside and show people that we're not living in fear, but when we ask ourselves, our awareness itself is watching us, and we cannot lie to ourselves.
Right.
So when we ask, we know whether we are in fear or not. So witnessing is, the first step of enlightenment. Without witnessing, overcoming the struggles, overcoming the conflict, is not possible, I would say.
Right. So the fear is absolutely not the truth. It's the when you realize that, it's the first step of witnessing to find the unchanging truth, or to dismantle, to dissolve, to go back to that state. Is that right?
Uh, I would say, fear is the starter for enlightenment. I would say,
Okay.
the fear is there, and if you start to be aware and look into the fear can actually lead us back to the truth. But if you are running away from the fear, and that's the way to, you know,
Well, that's
uh,
the normal way of life for most people, isn't it? To run
yes,
away from the fear, just to
yes,
stay in the moment and continue your daily existence, and
that's
not want to change.
that's what people think. Not looking into the fear and just being part of life is living in the moment. That's what people think. But not looking into the fear, being part of life, it's actually not living in the moment. It's the whole approach is coming from the fear, because of the fear that makes people to move, do in a certain ways, and it is the fear.
Right.
The fear is driving the the whole thing.
Right.
Without waking up from the falls, without overcoming the fear, no one can. The individual cannot live in the moment. Living in the moment only comes when one is awake from the falls.
Right. Okay. So an example of this that people might follow and understand is the desire to be popular, to be up with everybody else, to never be left behind, to be as popular and as successful as your peers, your friends, your family. That's kind of the fear, right? That you would lose that, and that
Uh,
affects the way
that's
you live your life.
because our whole environment is teaching us in a way that you have to be somebody, you have to do great.
Yeah, sure.
That's the driving idea in the world, and because of that perceptions, we all are moving in that in that race,
They
and
call it a rat race for a reason, don't they?
yes. uh, our environment has molded us in such a way that we are in that path, and because of trying to be somebody, trying to get somewhere, trying to be better, all this idea is already coming from the place of fear. The
Right.
fear makes us move in that way, and if we step back here, actually our whole environment is the one who is uh, planting the fear in everyone's life.
Right.
Our society is doing all that.
So this is difficult for a lot of people to do because it's ingrained in us. It's ingrained in the way that we handle our lives every day. It's society's pressure upon us, right?
Yes, it is. It's you know, uh, the society is putting out this idea, and then our past generation is living in that idea. Now our parents have those ideas, and parents are feeding those ideas into kids, and basically our own home is the realm of fear, and pretty much every home is a home of fear, which makes people to move in a certain way that uh, to invite more fear by by aligning with the fear and trying to move from the fear. It's a place of never-ending conflict and never-ending fear. So it's gonna be there until we start to step back and start to witness ourselves. Why do I hold on to this belief so much? Why do I feed into this belief? And basically, why do I in line with it? And we have to look into it. Why do I in line with the belief, and why do I feed into it?
Hmm.
Once you start to ask these questions, the individual start to see that the whole thing is again coming from the place of fear.
Right.
The fear makes us hold on to the things because no one wants to live without an idea.
But it's really interesting because most people think that is the truth, that is their true life, but
Uh,
it's not the right
this is the thing.
path.
That idea, that belief comes from the experience, and our physical world is about experience, and whatever we have gone through in life, it always leaves certain residue of the experience in us.
It molds you. Yeah.
Yeah, it molds us, and when the experience uh, comes in a way that enlivens the person's life, create a better shift in persons, then it's so easy to uh, think that this is the truth, but the physical truth has nothing to do with the absolute truth. Absolute truth is about dissolving everything, we have to dissolve the relative truth as well, and that's the way to get to the truth, because the relative truth is the ideas, the belief in us, and that belief itself is the wall in us that makes us not see what's beyond the wall.
Right.
So and the ironic thing about this journey is about looking into the falls, and dissolving the falls, and that's the only way to see who we are, who we are in the real sense.
So this is really the whole witness process to be able to kind of step back and really just have an overview of where you're at.
Yes, it is. Without it, there is no way out. If you don't witness, we are already in the realm of struggle, and trying to find the freedom in the realm of struggle is a further struggle.
Right.
So we have to step back from that, and watch ourselves. Am I in that? Am I holding on to the things? Holding on to the belief, or holding on to the idea, holding on to the preference. Am I doing that?
So this sounds like it's really an individual journey. It's not something someone can do for you, or
And good. I'm very glad that you asked me these questions. The journey towards the truth is an individual journey. It's not a collective journey. People, people think, have this idea that, you know uh, you know uh, people think that it's a collective journey, and then they work together, and do things together with the gurus, with the friends, with the spiritual teachers, all these things. But yes, it's good to in line with the spiritual teacher, and get the reference of the truth, and that's the only thing the real teacher will give you. The real teacher won't hold hands and walk with you. That is just if the real teacher sorry, if the student is trying to hold on to the guru, and guru is holding the hand, I will show you the way to the truth. Is both are delusional, and that's the way to uh, you know, anchor in the false, anchor in the place of fear where both parties will never overcome the fear unless they start to witness and look into their own actions.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good description of what is truth, what is the false, and how to witness. But now, if you've got to that stage and you're witnessing and you're seeing that there's issues here, how do you step back? How do you? I think you use the word dismantle. So how do you do that?
So basically, like once you have a uh, good routine of stepping back from the world and looking at yourself, right? Once you have that, then dismantling is just this. Whatever idea comes in your head, you can just follow that idea backward. That's all you
Right.
need to do. When the idea is in you, you see that idea, isn't it? You see that idea, and then you just have to. You can ask like this: Okay, I see this idea. Where is this idea coming from? Where is that idea coming from? And if you're holding on to that idea, if you're attached to this idea, then you can also ask, uh, why I'm feeding into this idea? Why am I so attached to this idea?
Right.
So the why can actually take us backward to figure out where the idea
Originates.
originates from.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is the simple way to go back.
Wow. Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, then, this stage of initial path to enlightenment is to witness yourself because you want to find out what is the truth. But to find the truth, you have to find what is the false that leads you to the truth, and then you have to dismantle.
Uh,
Is that right?
no, uh, uh, to get to the truth, we have to look into the false, and we just have to dismantle the false. That's the journey, and that's the only journey. We have to look into the false. False is already there, and all beliefs in us is the false reality,
Right.
and get to the true reality. The all beliefs, they gotta, they gotta dissolve.
Okay, so one of the questions we had from our first episode, and it fits into this, someone was saying, okay, if you're going to dismantle and give up what is the false, what does that mean about? Uh, I think the person asked, what does that do to your education and your ability to have studied and learned? And do you give that up? Do you try and forget that?
Here,
Doesn't make sense, right?
uh, here, to figure out who we are, we have to step back from all the credential, from all everything we have achieved in us. We have to step back. We don't have to throw away. We just need to step back from all those things and dismantle, and that's the way to figure out who we are. uh, you know the credentials, the all the relative truth is still valid when we see who we are, because
Right,
still it's okay, because we need that as a reference on how to figure out our life outside the truth, because outside the truth is all pattern based, all conditioning world. And if your credential holds the relative truth, and that is still useful. uh, uh, it's we don't have to throw it away what we have gained. It's just stepping back away from those things for a while until we figure out who we are.
right,
And once we figure out who we are, we understand that uh, truth is about dissolving all patterns, all knowledge, all beliefs, and outside of truth is all about pattern. There is a clear understanding. One is a pattern, one is no pattern. And once we finish our journey on figuring out who we are, when we come back to the world to participate in the world, if you are holding the pattern that in line with the nature's way of things, it's good. We don't need to throw those things away. That is still valid. So that's why people are scared, in a way that uh, because they think that enlightenment is about giving up everything, and when they think, when they have that perception, and people don't want to give up, don't want to start the
No, I
journey,
mean,
you know.
I work very hard. I study. I create. You call them credentials in my life. Well, I don't want to really give that up.
Nobody wants to give up because everything people we all we have done is to build up the credential. Now the truth is saying give up the credential, and that contradicts the whole process.
Right. So the reality is, if we do become enlightened, we come back to the same place, right?
You're back in the world again, but your mind is rearranged in a way that you only holding the reference that is in line with the nature's way of things,
Right.
not holding the ideas or belief in you that is make believe.
Right. So you still have the knowledge and you still use that knowledge, but it may
Yes.
be in the application, the way you use that knowledge that's different.
Yes. Otherwise, this is the example. How would I come back here and then participate with you and I'm talking to you?
Right.
Because if I'm not holding the if I'm not rearranging the mind to say it in a way, then this is not going to happen.
Right.
So there's a seeing of the truth, there's a rearrangement in oneself, and we just we in line with the nature's way of things.
Okay.
In the mental sense or in the physical sense, is everything in lines with the nature.
Okay. I think that's great. Maybe in our next discussion, we can talk a little bit about more about patterns. I think patterns and colors. You mentioned colors last time. I think
Okay.
people are interested in that, so it would be good if we can go into a little more detail there. So I think the journey to enlightenment, clearly, it's there's a process and a method to this.
There's a simple method, simple approach to it. Uh, yeah, it's really simple. Only thing we need to do is look into the approach and try putting the approach into looking into ourselves, and that's the
Yeah.
way to declutter the faults in us.
Okay, that's great. I think this has been really useful. I think it built on the first episode, but we've got much more to talk about.
Yes, there are a lot. I can say we can talk about a lot of stuff, or we have only few things to talk about. If I
It's
if
explaining it so people understand.
yeah, there's only few things to say it, but in expanding sense, yes, we have to talk. Uh, we can say lot of things
Okay.
uh, in a way that we are referencing again the viewers in a way that what is true and what is not true. We're
Right.
putting out our reference to differentiate for you guys, for the
Okay.
people. Yeah,
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks, Lawrence. This has been pretty good.
yeah. Again, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we'll be back next time.
yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
There we go. You are the fearless one, you are the truth. And if you wanna see the truth, follow nobody. Following anybody is following the mind, and all mind is contradictory. Who you are is not the mind. However, to be no mind, follow the trade of the mind. Backward, dismantle the mind.